Admiral, the other major story is the amount of men and women in our military that are been forced out because they won't get vaccinated for a pandemic that the president said is over.
The pandemic is over.
In case you don't have a monitor there, let me just read you some of these numbers. Almost 9,000 Marines, almost 4,000 Air Force members, 2,632 Coast Guard, who the president just heralded for their incredible work in Florida, 19,460 total active service men and women. You as an admiral who knows what it takes and the sacrifice you make to join the military, to get kicked out like this, can you possibly talk some sense into this White House to reverse policy?
Well, I'll tell you, Brian, I mean, and you and I have talked about this quite some time over the last year or so. The vaccinations are a valid military requirement. You want your troops to be ready, and part of being ready is being healthy and not being able or not having the ability to infect your unit and to make their unit readiness any worse than it is. Look, I'm talking to you from home here because I'm wrapping up my own bout with COVID here over the last 10 days.
Exactly.
I'm not going to the office.
Admiral, exactly.
I don't want to get.
But listen, just to blend in the military and the science, we all know that this vaccine does not address any of the variants we're currently experiencing. So therefore, there's minimal positive to getting it now, which is why you guys don't even talk about it. To invest in our people and train them and then dismiss them for experimental vaccine is folly when you can't recruit. Every one of your branches can't recruit their threshold, yet you're kicking out good men and women. How do you explain that?
Well, look, Brian, first of all, the Navy did make their recruiting goals for enlisted personnel this year. Yes, it's a tough recruiting environment. We recognize that. But it's also, you have a requirement to be healthy to be able to serve. And this is a valid military requirement. It's a,
you really
it's a
think
lawful
so?
order to get the vaccine. And look, even if it doesn't prevent you from getting COVID, I'm double boosted. I got it myself here just the last week or so.
That's your decision.
It makes the symptoms a lot less severe. It gets you back on duty.
So it's worth kicking out the healthiest people in our country who are already sacrificing. It's worth kicking them out?
Brian, we would rather not lose anybody, of course, to the vaccine. We'd rather not lose anybody from a retention perspective to have them leave the service earlier than they wanted or we wanted them to. Right. But it's a valid military requirement.
No, it isn't. This is an experimental vaccine that just came off the shelf. You know it's not valid, and it's risk our national security. Admiral, you are a military officer. You could talk sense into this White House.
I was a military officer. That's why I'm telling you that vaccines are common for you. You can't even join the military without taking about a dozen or so vaccines to make sure that you're healthy, so that you can contribute to the unit's success and readiness. We don't want to lose anybody to the vaccine.
You're losing
whether
20,000.
they get the vaccine or not. We don't. But Brian, you got to have a healthy force. This is a valid health requirement. Health is central to our readiness as a military unit. And you're not just, it's not just
Admiral,
about you.
We're going to have to go, but it's just hard because we talked about this amazing hero who's in the Coast Guard, and he rescued someone who could potentially drown down there in the Fort Myers area, and now he's getting kicked out. Exactly. And so that's just, it's so hard as Americans to know that that person wouldn't be saved if he weren't working right now. Right. And in 30 to 60 days, he's going to be kicked out. So he saved a life, and all of these military men and women have saved so many lives over the course of their training. So it's just really disheartening to see that for religious reasons, when they don't get a vaccine, they're going to get kicked out. But Admiral, thank you.
The vaccine itself helps save lives too.
All right. And is it worth it, you losing 20,000?
We would rather lose nobody, Brian, but it's a valid military requirement that helps unit readiness. Valid. That's the important thing you got to remember.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for joining us from your home. And we did not realize you were battling COVID or coming off COVID, so good luck to you.
You're feeling better.
Thank you.